So today we are going to be talking about the desktop and the laptop market and the decline that has been occurring in the last couple of quarters. Some call it dramatic shift, some call it shift, but definitely it's something that we haven't seen probably in a couple of decades. We're going to be trying to explain what are the trends, what are the preferences, and what is the idea behind people not buying newer computers. I'm going to be touching something about refurbished computers and the refurbished market that is going to be important in the next couple of years. And then we are going to be trying to predict future, if possible. So, welcome to IT Show, where talk meets tech and vice versa. Please roll the intro.
Okay.
Now, who is going to start? The usual questions. We are in uniforms today.
Yeah.
Vedran has provided the swag for the show, so we are uniformed.
Properly, I think.
I make this look nice. So this is fine.
Yes, you are walking and talking like model for the t-shirts. That's what you are.
Yes, semi-autonomous artificial intelligence. Yes.
That's it.
Okay, so where shall we start?
At the beginning.
Give me the numbers.
Give you the numbers.
Give me the numbers.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start at let's say Q1?
Q1 2023. What is happening in Q4 2022 year to year?
Year to year.
Yes.
You are a very demanding dude, you know that?
It's much easier to understand when we are comparing year to year and trying to understand what is happening. So give me the numbers, then we'll try to make sense of it.
Okay. So some of the reports, let's say Gartner, etc., say that worldwide PC shipments declined 30% in Q1 of 2023. They say that the reason for that is high inventory and low demand.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have a constructive discussion about that, whatever the constructive discussion about that means. So that's the first number that we need to discuss. And now then they break it down by different brands. And the market slumps that we are discussing I haven't seen anything like that in my life, actually. Let's say 30% for Lenovo, 24% for HP, 30% for Dell, 34% for Apple. I think Apple should be treated a little bit separately in our discussion as well. That there is a reason for that.
Yes, I am completely sure. I'm completely with you because Apple, and this is the point I was trying to make, is that Apple right now is in the middle of an experiment. They have completely went off the usual steps in the market, and they are just pushing a completely new technology, a new platform on the market. So they are separate because HP, Dell, Lenovo, and all usual suspects are more or less pushing what they had up until now. Apple has switched chips, has switched architectures, and they are probably the most promising laptops on the market.
For the future.
Yes.
Okay. Asia's 30%, Acer 36%, and others 30% on average. The market research that I'm looking at right now says 30% decline in Q1.
So compared to this, I have additional numbers. It says that projected decline for everything, devices, so they count tablets, PCs, and mobile phones into it,
Okay.
is still decline of 4.4% year to year for 2023. And they are projecting that this year is going to be 1.7 billion units sold.
Okay.
And the thing that actually was surprising to me is that the worldwide PC market, so PC shipments, was for the first quarter was 55.2 million units.
Okay.
It's awfully low.
Okay.
55 million units is something that's awfully low, especially compared to the pandemic years, because the PC market, if you remember, in the pandemic years, PC market was actually going up, and it was going up quite steeply. because people kept buying new devices for home use, home office, or working from home. So a lot of devices got sold, and nobody was expecting that the market is going to slump so hard.
Actually, if you look at the long-term reports, this might come as a surprise to you. It's actually quite a bit different than what you think. The same report states that HP shipments in EMEA region dropped 37% when you compare to a year ago. But also, we are talking about seventh consecutive quarter of double-digit slump for HP, fourth consecutive quarter for Dell, and for basically all of the other usual suspects, which is painting a little bit of a different picture to what I think we initially thought. Because this is not necessarily a slump that happened, like this. This is something that's a long-term trend.
So basically, if this were a market, and if all the manufacturers were countries, this would be called a recession, and deep recession by name.
Exactly the point.
I have a couple of ideas, and I have a couple of things, because they said that the market is right now oversupplied. They said that market is going to be less supplied in the next couple of days. But
do you think that the market is oversupplied?
I have a huge question mark. When the COVID thing started, and when everything was just rolling and starting, they said that they cannot keep up with the supply, that they have a big problem with they couldn't keep the supply up and running. Now we are oversupplied. Did somebody make a projection that was completely wrong? Because oversupply after a demanding market means that what you did is your projections were completely wrong. You did the calculation, and you decided you're going to make because the oversupply today is the oversupply that was ordered at least 6 months ago.
Okay.
So somebody during the slump in the market, somebody was ordering more. So somebody was projecting that the number of devices is going to be going up, not down. And I think that this is part of the problem. Part of the problem is nobody...
People betting on future demand?
Yes.
Okay, I'm getting where you're going with this.
The problem is that suddenly we are seeing, okay, there is a decline in the market. But if you're telling me that you have 7 quarters, consecutive quarters of lower and lower and lower demand, how do you have oversupply? Are you still completely, basically convincing yourself that everything is going to be okay? Or are you consistently oversupplying the market with the idea of whatever?
I would argue that there is no oversupply in a lot of the different categories, and you can easily check that by going online and trying to order something. You are rarely going to find a situation in which you have 500 laptops in stock somewhere. So oversupply, I don't think, is the problem. I think that the market kind of worked itself out in the past year and a half, unlike what it was during COVID era, where the demands skyrocketed for laptops, for cameras, for all the stuff that were needed to work from home, which was kind of normal to kind of expect from the standpoint of today. But the fact that the market has been going in steep decline for years, actually now, that's a completely different picture than what I initially thought. Having in mind that if you take a look at Q1 and go 2 years backwards, we are right in the midst of the COVID era.
I think that there are two problems there. First, the COVID era. COVID era was okay. It was a tragic excuse, but it was an excuse for people to at least get a decent computer for their home office,
which was awesome.
Yes. So a lot of people got decent computers for the home office, and a lot of computers that were bought during the COVID era are going to be not more or less, but completely valid for the next 3 years or so.
Agreed.
So this is one of the things that is driving the market down. You just need a certain amount of computers, and you don't need a third or the fourth or the fifth computer in your home.
Coming from you, that's funny.
Yes, but coming from me, it's funny, but it's my professional job to say, okay, nobody's going to buy the fifth computer. If I'm insane enough to have seven computers at home, this is just me being insane. But the regular consumer is going to stick with 2 laptops or 3 laptops. This is going to be top. And since nobody's selling their old laptops because the market is oversaturated, all laptops are being given away to your friends, your parents, your older people around you, or whatever. So suddenly we have a perfect storm of you not needing a new laptop because your laptop is now good enough. You giving away your old laptop, so you are saturating part of the market that may possibly be buying something new. And suddenly, who are the laptop
Then
manufacturers going to sell to?
who are the prospective buyers?
Yes, and the other thing is that there is an oversupply. I recently bought 13700 Intel KF, and it came at something like 370 euros. This is the lowest price that I have ever seen for the CPU that is that is targeted for this part of the market, because it's a high-end i7 unit basically, and I have never seen high-end i7 units at this price point.
Exactly what we were discussing earlier as well,
Yes.
which I kind of commented on as well. A year and a half ago when I bought my 3900K, that was probably the cheapest, highest end CPU that Intel kind of like made available to the market in God knows how many years.
And it was still 30 or 40% more expensive than it is today. Because
I
the
don't
pri-
think that it's not that much of a difference. It is a difference. I actually checked a couple of days ago, but to my surprise, that's basically like talking about what used to be the Extreme Edition.
Yes.
CPUs. That's what it is.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
Extreme Editions were €1,000 plus, and
Yes.
I bought it for €500 or something like that.
The problem is that I have a couple of desktop computers at home. Right now, the oversupply is not only the oversupply on the seller's part. The oversupply is also more or less saturation in the market, because I have let's say
Very good point.
let's call it. I have 3 desktops at home. I have a 8700 Intel. I have a 3800 AMD, and now I bought 13700. If I need to compare, did I actually need to buy the latest generation of the Intel? I would say no.
Okay.
The
I
only
was
reason
surprised that you did. You were a little bit more leaning towards AMD lately.
I just wanted to be up to the standards and up to the latest generations.
Why?
I think that the reason is because I was lecturing on computer architecture, and I did too many lectures on how different latest generation of Intel is compared to
So
the
you
others.
self-influenced yourself
Yes, so
into buying.
So basically, I said I need a dog food, and I need
Yes.
to
Good
have.
doggy.
Yes, so I needed to, but and the prices were insanely low. But other than that, the real need doesn't exist. I didn't need the new PC. New desktop is fine. It's amazingly fast. It's flashy. It looks nice and so on. Windows 11 looks amazing.
No, it
But
doesn't.
on 13700 it does. But anyways, other than this, it's just a new toy. The older AMD is perfectly fine. Even the 5 generations old Intel would be completely fine.
Okay, so I'd like to start my part of the story with a couple of honorable mentions. Honorable. We made 3 episodes in the past. Actually, at the beginning when we started doing our podcast, we made one that was related to insane hardware prices.
Yes.
That was, I think, our second episode. We're going to link them in the description box of the video. After that, we made 2 videos related to laptop and motherboard designs, which were also very, very popular among our viewers. Again, thank you for that. Which kind of proved some other points that I think both of us were trying to make for a longer period of time, especially me, because I am a very big stickler about for some things related to upgradability and whatnot. So the current market situation, as it stands right now, I think has been caused by, from the user's perspective we are talking now, because I'm also a user who bought into the 13th gen. I paid my fair share of money for that, and the motherboard and whatnot. I think that from the user's perspective, you're going to find two groups of reasons why people are not buying computers. The first one is that hardware is just too darn expensive. Graphic cards are insanely expensive. Some of the latest graphic cards that came to the market, I'm not talking about high-end models, I'm talking about mid-range, or what some companies are representing as mid-range models. They are not good. They are bad GPUs, and everybody's saying that, so we can say it as well. Basically the hardware is expensive part of the story, which is basically money-related reasons. You can also tie that down to something else, which is kind of like playing out in front of our eyes in more ways than one. It's maybe happening in different rhythm all around the world, but it's still happening, which is people are very, very hesitant about spending money. Market crash, recession, inflation, all the things that happened in the past year or so, maybe even less. I think it's having both conscious and subconscious effect on people and their decisions to buy hardware. So that's my take on the money perspective. Okay.
Can I just quickly give my take on this? I'm with you for the money perspective, but I think that the money itself is not the problem. I think that the perception of the price is the one.
No, money is not the problem because there is no money.
Yes, but also the perception of the price. Because first, in the last couple of years, first the blockchain broke completely the GPU market, and people are used to GPUs being expensive, although they are not anymore. Because the blockchain market basically gave up on the GPUs, so GPUs are not so expensive anymore.
They are. Not as much as they were a year ago, but still they're very expensive.
In the people's mind, they are extremely expensive. The CPUs are not as expensive as we said, but people also don't need a new flashy CPU because the other CPU is more or less okay.
Okay, don't go into that. That's
but you need to compare the prices to something you already own.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, it's okay, but the price itself is not the GPU price is okay. CPU prices are falling, but
CPU prices I would argue are quite okay.
Yes, but and the motherboards are more or less okay unless you're willing to spend for a decent motherboard with decent number of connections. When this is going to be completely insanely expensive, we are talking at 1,200 euros plus for a pro version. But anyways, the prices themselves are, I think, the hardware itself is not overpriced anymore. But I think the perception is that the hardware is overpriced.
I think it is overpriced, especially on the GPU side of things. But let me go back to the... So from the practical user perspective, some of the things that you mentioned and a couple of things that you didn't mention. Hardware is definitely fast enough.
Okay.
If you have 3, 4, 5 generations old computer,
it has been for 5 years.
Yeah, it's like for 99% of the people, that's good enough.
If you bought a mid-range computer 5 years ago, it would probably do whatever you needed to do unless you're gaming.
Yes, unless you're gaming.
Yes.
That's exactly the caveat. Then, related to the user's perspective of buying hardware, put yourself into the shoes of people buying hardware, which you did recently. I would argue that the expansion options that you mentioned actually lead to a situation in which when users are considering buying something, like a motherboard, motherboard is a perfect example for that. It's just too darn complicated.
Yes.
That's why I mentioned one of our previous episodes, because you have a gazillion models, none of which probably meet your criteria for the computer that you want to do, because people who are buying computers as components in parts, they usually know what they're looking for, or they want to inform themselves before making a decision on what to purchase. This is not willy-nilly buying stuff. And even though the websites of motherboard manufacturers are so flashy and all of that, finding the correct information about a certain type of motherboard that you need is something that's akin to art nowadays. Go to Gigabytes and Asia's websites and try to find a motherboard that, for example, has, I don't know, two PCI Express slots for, two M2 slots for SSDs and five PCI Express slots for expandability. Good luck. You're going to spend hours looking for that.
I think that the biggest problem there is that the engineering has completely given over to marketing, and
Gigabyte's website and scrolling
yes,
on it is just, I want to somebody when I see
even
that.
if you know for it is
Yeah.
probably you're not going to be looking for, I don't know, PCI Express slot. It is going to be called exclusive gaming extension port angel dust related something.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point.
So this is
And
another
there's
thing. It's not that it's more complicated. It's that it's completely incomprehensible. Yes.
unreadable. And there's another thing to another point to be made here, which is if you look at it realistically, you have to ask yourself, what is the market circle? What is the market loyalty? What is the user's loyalty? What is the lifespan of the product that people buy? Because when you're talking about the mobile phone, you could probably argue that, let's say, a life for this type of device in terms of how long you're using it is, I don't know, 3-4 years, whatnot, 5, I don't know. It's difficult to say. But for the computers, I think that the actual life expectancy for a computer when you buy it is getting longer.
And we started, I remember that a couple of, it would be probably 15 years ago. There was a presentation by HP that I attended, and they were talking about the expanded lifespan of laptops.
Okay.
And they said that they're expecting for a business laptop to be changed every 18 months, and a laptop for end user every 22 months.
Okay.
So this is something that I know right now. If you ask me if there is a single person who does this in this time frame, I don't know anybody.
Agreed.
So I would guess that even the most optimistic enterprises are going to change laptops every 2 years, usually every 3. End users are going to change the laptop when it breaks. So because there is no other reason, there is no, it is not going to get obsolete. It is going to work until it dies. So we have the hardware producers have a problem, because the only thing that they can do is they can create crappy hardware and hope for the best that the end user is going
Throw
to
it to the wall and see what sticks.
No, the end user is going to be having to exchange his own new broken laptop with a newer broken laptop. So this is something that is not driving the market up. This is just creating additional, I would call it disservice to the market, because people expect that the hardware is going to be bad. They expect it to be broken down before it even starts to work. So people are reluctant to buy anything new. And this is also creating a downward trend.
Okay, let's link that to one of our very, let's say, one of our dear topics, which is the secondary hardware market.
Yes.
What do you think how all of this is going to influence that?
First, it is obvious that the market for the refurbished device is going to go up. Right now, the market for refurbished devices has two different parts. One is the enterprise market.
Okay.
Because the enterprise markets has suddenly become interesting for home user and end user.
Okay.
Because small office, home office devices more or less can today be, you can just go and buy an enterprise level device for your own home office. I'm talking about switches, I'm talking about routers, I'm talking about access points, I'm talking about all the other networking equipment. You can buy amazingly cheap desktops that are usable if you need to do large-scale device deployment for whatever reason you need to do. We have come to a point where it is actually cheaper to buy a complete PC based on, I don't know, i3 that is 5 years old than it is to buy a newish Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
And we have come to a point where refurbished hardware is so cheap that people are completely turning towards it. The other thing,
Market researchers played it out as well.
yes, and the
Bear
other
it
thing
out.
is that market for used devices for the end user, refurbished PCs, refurbished laptops, is also huge. Apple is quite expensive on this refurbished market, but other brands are not so much. So I think that they are expecting that in the next 10 years it's going to go up when it says 8.9%. I'll try to do a reference in
Description?
in the description, but I'm expecting that this is going to be even more. So they're expecting that the market is going to be something like 10.4 or 10.5 billion dollars by 2031,
Okay.
and I expect this to happen. I expect that the market is going to go up because
That refurbished market.
yes,
Okay.
refurbished market, because older devices are good enough. Companies are still throwing them away while they're still in their useful life. So this is going to drive the refurbished market up, and this is also going to drive the new hardware market down. And I think that the pressure is going to be even more.
To lower the prices of the new
Yes,
hardware. You mean?
yes.
I would like to see that happen because the prices of stuff like, again, going back to graphic cards, the mid-range GPU, the latest one that NVIDIA released, is more than $400.
Okay, but
It's insane because it's let's call it what it is. It's a bad product.
okay, but let's talk about the reference that we are always using. So the business computer, the computer
cares?
that is right now driving two monitors probably. That is right now driving I don't know, Outlook, whatever you're using for the web browser, and it requires 8 gigabytes of RAM. I think this is going to be under under 100 euros in a couple of years for a reasonable configuration. I'm not talking for any configuration, but I'm talking about a reasonable configuration that is available for the business market, and nobody is going to be needing faster computer than this. So suddenly we have come to a point where the electricity prices are higher than the price of the hardware. It never was like this.
Okay.
And this hardware also includes different licenses.
Okay.
So we are going to be seeing a lot of refurbished hardware on the market, and we are going to be seeing a lot of businesses buying into the refurbished hardware just because it makes sense.
Okay. And I left one topic as a separate thing, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, which is the Apple situation. Because their sales also fell like 30% in terms of the Macs. Specifically, I'm not talking about iPhones now because we're talking about computers as a part of this episode. And there are multiple reasons why that is happening. And I don't want you to read from my screen what those are. I'm asking you, what do you think why Apple has a situation in which they have a 30% decline in their laptop sales? I have more than a few ideas why.
I have a sneaky suspicion that the main reason for both you and me is going to be the same, but we are going to phrase it differently.
Okay.
I think
I
that
actually bought one, you know that.
yes, but I think that what Apple did is that they created too good of a platform.
Which one?
The M1.
Absolutely agreed.
I think that the new platform is so quick, so power efficient, and so usable that people don't need more.
Agreed.
And at the same time, they try to create their own system of tier devices. So the lowest tier being Air, being Mac Mini, and then creating a Mac Pro and whatever.
Studio,
Max,
whatever
Mac
they are.
Studio,
Yeah,
Max,
okay.
iMacs, integrated displays, whatever. But people are not buying it. Mac Mini that you can buy for 600 euros is completely capable of running even the most demanding applications.
Agreed.
And then why would you need 5 or 6 times more expensive Mac Studio for to get, I don't know, 20% more performance out of? It's
Great.
easier. It's easier to buy 4 Mac Minis than to buy a newer Mac Studio and get not the performance on the single seat, but you can get basically parallel performance if you need to do something for professional applications for fraction of the price. So they created
Their own problem, basically.
they created a problem by creating an amazing architecture, and then they try to apply older business practices to this same architecture.
Okay, going from that, I agree. That's my first reason why M1 is just so darn good. M2 just doesn't look as much as.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It looks good, but it doesn't make sense.
it's not only that. The computers are not mobile phones. Upgrading computers, which is what Apple kind of like tried people to do. People are not going to upgrade computers year on year. That's not going to happen. Not
Let me-
anytime soon, at least.
Let me do a better analogy. If you can buy a car that is completely spec'd out in regards to additional accessories, equipment, and so on, and it is able to go up to, I don't know, let's call it 130 kilometers per hour. And I offer you the same car with the same specification, but the top speed is now 200, and this car is going to be 5 times as more expensive. Which one would you buy?
There is no question.
Yes, and this is the problem that Apple created.
Okay.
They have the performance gain in the upper market for the more expensive machines that nobody needs. Because they already created a machine that is much faster than the previous generations. And that's just it. People are going to stick with the Mac Airs and M1s in the basic configuration.
Hence the reason why initially the M1 sales were up through the roof, and then when M2 came out,
Yes, because everybody's expecting that the newer Macs are going to be behaving the same as the older generations with Intel.
funny situation. Not last week, 10 days ago, when I was ordering my M2 Mac Mini non-Pro version, the M2 non-Pro version of Mac Mini was cheaper than M1 version of non-Pro Mac Mini.
Let's call it a supply issue, probably.
I don't know
There is an extreme oversupply of M2s.
I mean, it was kind of funny to see.
Yes, but I don't think that Apple is laughing.
I know, because they created this problem, but they actually compounded it with a couple of other things that they did. One of the reasons why people outright dislike M2s, at least some of the models, is because a little bit of a truth came out in a sense of performance, not only for the CPU part of the whole generation. They actually created designs with SSDs that were slower than the previous generation. That came out in multiple articles. A lot of people read that, and a lot of people were obviously unhappy with that, which is completely rational. It's completely understandable. If I'm buying a new device that's a generation newer than the older one, I expect it, in terms of the storage performance, to have the same storage performance or better. No way I'm expecting it to be slower.
Okay.
Or accepting it.
Okay, but Apple is used to creating problems where the problems shouldn't be.
Yes.
With every other generation, they are creating another set of problems. Faulty keyboard, unusable.
Butterfly keyboards, yeah.
Yes, faulty keyboards, replacing the function keys with the screen, having computers that are falling apart because of the batteries, having computers that are falling...
Bulging batteries.
Yes, that they're changing colors because of the temperature and so on. So they're used to doing problems where the problem shouldn't be appearing at all. And this is not something that I would take against them. It's just Apple being Apple. They cannot be too perfect. But the problem with M1 versus M2 is something that was completely Apple made. It was something that couldn't be could be anticipated, and this is something that Apple cannot unmade now. So slower SSD, okay, I'm fine. But the problem is, how do you explain to yourself that you're going to be paying 3, 4, 5, 6 times more for a PC, for a computer that is going to be 10% or 20% faster than the cheaper one.
Okay.
And this is the biggest problem. People bought M1 Air to see what is going to happen, saw that it is amazing, and then they decided to skip over for the next two generations for the Apple Silicon.
I decided not to buy M1 because, first generation of a product.
Okay, but you are one
They
of the
really
one of the
kicked,
few,
they kicked ass with M1. There's no question.
and this is going to be become a problem for the refurbished market also,
Okay.
because the price of the Airs, give it another year, price of the all the other Airs on the market in the refurbished market is going to fall down steeply, because
Oh, I hope.
because M1 is going to rule the refurbished market for the next 7 or 8 years, at minimum.
You would not believe the second-hand prices of Apple hardware. I'm talking laptops.
Yes, I know, I
desktops,
checked them.
Whatever. The second-hand prices are just insane, even for very, very old hardware.
Yes, I know. You can still buy. You can still buy first generation of Mac Airs. It's what 2007, 2006. So the first generation of the is also is available, and I think that the price is can be compared to a new-ish Lenovo laptop refurbished. So something like 300 euros or 400 euros. So the price, at least in Europe, is artificially high for the refurbished hardware. In the United States, it's different.
Okay, yeah.
They have
There's
a
a reason for that, at least on paper. There's a reason for that. It's import tax related, but the prices of Apple devices in Europe, in EU generally, I'm not going to talk about Croatia because that's an outlier that's not worth discussing, because our local distributor of Apple products is insane in terms of pricing. But generally speaking, the prices of all of the Apple devices in EUI are in European Union are quite a bit higher than what they are in the rest of the world.
Okay, but in the States, it's also the saturation. There is
Yeah.
an amazing number of devices, and people are used to changing them every couple of years. So you have a huge secondary market of the devices, and this drives the price down.
I also took a look because all of these reports were coming out as PC market slump and laptops declining in popularity, 30% decline, blah blah blah, all of that. And there were quite a few articles available on the net about this. I also took a look at what the let's say IDC and a couple of other let's say analytics companies say about the server market. It's completely the opposite. And I found an IDC research in 2022, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Their estimations are that year on year on 2023, the overall market is going to shrink just 0.3%, which is basically statistical error, so not worth mentioning. And then it's going to grow 11% next year, 11% next year, and let's say in the region of 9% year on year 2026 and 7. Which is completely the opposite of what the market analytics houses like Gartner, IDC, and whatever are saying when the topic is laptops, PCs, or whatever. They are expecting the market to kind of like bounce back at the end of this year. I don't think it's going to happen.
For the servers?
No. For the desktops.
No. Desktops are. I think the market is going to be continue declining for at least 4 quarters more. So for at least a year more, and then we are going to see. I would call it probably a stagnation, not something that is going to be of any note. So
you think that that's related to just job requirements and people requiring mobile devices, or something else?
First,
we briefly touched on this in one of the other episodes.
First, the saturation. Second, I wouldn't call it outsource, but using cloud services more, so that the requirements for the typical PC that you're working at are going to decline. You're not going to be needing system that fast, because a lot of things are going to be completely moved to the cloud. So parts of the process, parts of the business process, and so on. So you won't be needing your local power.
Like a terminal.
Yes. So you are going to basically be running a net terminal. And the other thing is that I'm not expecting that people are going to be wanting more.
Okay.
Because why? Why would you buy right now? First, you don't know what the next generation is going to be. Is going to be x86s? Is it going to be ARM? Is it going to be x64? Uh, as long as your Windows 10 is running, do you switch over to Windows 11? Do you wait for the Windows 12? Is the Microsoft going to do the big switcheroo with Windows 12? As they said that there is not going to be Windows 11, is there going even to be Windows 12? Is it going to come out next year? Is it going to be stop supporting older version of processors, whatever? So there are a lot of things that are happening on the market that big players need to think about, and usually there is no need to rush. So why buy an entire fleet of new laptops when you can wait?
Okay, to your point about cloud, I also checked some of the, let's say, predictions for public cloud services and how the growth of that is going to look like. And let's say that in 2022, it was projected to be roughly around, I think, they said $500 billion and then 600 and 700 or something like that. So the data bears out your prediction. I'm not sure that this is true. It's not about me hating cloud. We are not having the discussion because I don't hate cloud. Right? I'm a cloud realist, just like you are in a sense. But I don't see that everybody is going to all of a sudden use cloud way more instead of buying their laptops or devices. I don't think that that's going to be necessarily the reason why the, let's say, laptop market is going to shrink. I just think that it's going to be, I'm happy with my laptop. I'm happy with my desktop PC. I bought it. For example, this one I have now for 3.5 years. I have no plans to change it anytime soon, unless it breaks. So, and for at least the next year or two, I'm not going to change that. And most of the people that I have, let's say, on my contact list and I talk to are saying the same thing. But being IT people or not is not the relevant part of the discussion. Whatever the let's say the type of user that we are discussing, they're saying the same things.
Do you see? Let me just quickly switch the topic here. Do you see that services like Cloud PC by Microsoft or whatever it is called by other people are going to have any impact on the market and market sales?
Initially, yes, and after that, no.
But I haven't seen any impact at all. I haven't seen that anybody.
I'm skeptic about that.
Yes, I'm highly skeptical because of the price. Because when you compare what Cloud PC is asking you to pay for the service and the price of the laptop, especially the first one, I don't see a case there. When everybody is trying to sell you cloud, they're going to tell you that total cost of ownership is going to, in the long run, be much lower if you use the cloud. But I don't see with the prices that are in the.
You still have to have a device to access that machine.
Yes, so basically we are talking about $500 to $600 for a machine right now in the cloud, and you still need a device, you still need a monitor, you still need a keyboard. This is going to break, so somebody's going to need changing this. So I don't see that this is going to make any dent on the market. I especially think that Microsoft is going to be creating a lot of confusion by pushing the cloud technologies, the hybrid Windows application model, whatever, and this is going to create a lot more confusion and push the market down even more.
I'm with you on that assumption as well. I find that all of the cloud providers are doing some very strange things in the past couple of years. I know that they have to grow their market share, they have to earn more money, they have to pay off all of the debt about the data center build-up process and the electricity and all of that. But with all of the things that have been happening in the past just couple of weeks related to cloud, I think that, and reading about a lot of stories about people moving away from cloud, specifically enterprise companies, not small ones, I don't think that this growth of cloud can go indefinitely. And I don't think that the viable solution to this device is ever going to be something that's cloud or anytime soon.
I've seen a lot of discussions about not moving from the cloud, but moving into colocation. So basically creating their
Yeah,
own
the
hybrid clouds.
collocation is something that I also heard as a keyword after many, many years becoming much more popular again.
Yes, because people like having their own computers,
Owning
but
their own data.
at the same time not having to hear them running and not having to do anything about them.
Cleaning air conditioning and
Yes,
whatnot. Yeah.
so I think that we have suddenly come the full circle,
Yes. Back to
and
2003, 4,
if
5.
not 2000, early 2000, because
Well, yeah, that's
we
it.
are just storing our computers at somebody else's place. So cloud is not other people's computers, but it's our computers running at somebody else's garage.
Yeah.
And this is completely fine with me, but this also creates another set of problems, because this is also going to drive the market down. Who needs servers? Because if you can buy refurbished servers and then put them in the colocation, and suddenly,
I like that very much.
also I didn't talk to you about this. I have seen that the business model of cloud providers or the colocation providers is changing.
Okay.
Some of them are not longer charging you by the unit. They are charging you exclusively on the power.
I don't find that to be weird at all. Yeah.
Yes, but
I
it's not.
heard
It's
that
not.
from a couple of people
Yeah,
as well.
it's not weird, but it is a new thing to me. I wasn't expecting that this going to happen as quickly as it
It's
happened.
just like additional charges in restaurants in Germany when you enter the restaurant for nothing.
Yes, but I was expecting that the price per unit is going to stay, so that you're going to be buying, I don't know, 10 units or whatever. Right now, you can just say, okay, I need 22 kilowatts or whatever, and then they give you however many racks you need.
That's a direct result of the way in which the political situation influences the economical situation, which changed the situation with how the power pricing works, which changed significantly in the past year and a half. We almost forgot about the way in which the prices for just for the power delivery, how much they changed in the past couple of years.
Okay,
And we
but
should not
the
forget
data
about that.
centers didn't forget it.
Well, I'm sure, but it's a big shift when let's say infrastructure providers are doing processes like this, but that just reflects the new market reality, and the new market reality is that power is very expensive.
Okay, but I still was expecting that they're going to try to protect the rack space, that they're going to still
You mean like double charge, rack space
yes,
plus
yes,
power?
yes, yes,
That
yes,
would be
yes.
so much more in line with what we've seen so
Yes,
far.
because a lot of them did that. They said that with each unit, whatever you got, 800 watts or a kilowatt or whatever, and then there were additional surcharges for the power for if you exceeded the amount per unit. But right now, a unit is no longer no longer has any meaning in the data center
Yeah,
environment.
that's rapidly changing. I heard the same story from multiple different sources as well, not only from you. Although you did tell me that you had that situation locally too. It's very, very interesting.
And so everything is changing, and the prices are going up because of the inflation. Hardware prices are not going down as we are expecting it to do. The market itself is completely volatile right now.
Berserk.
And can we even predict what is going to happen in the next year or so?
No. And we would be irresponsible to even try. The only thing that I'm sure of is that laptops are not going away. Desktop PCs, I agree with you, they are going to shrink continue shrinking in terms of the market share in the future, most probably. If there's some kind of a quantum shift in technology that might push users towards buying new desktops, cool, but I don't think it's
I
going to
don't
happen.
expect it. I think that right now quantum shifting technology is artificial intelligence, and
And
this is
that's
going to
not a desktop
this is
use
going to
case.
heavily influence the server market.
Yeah.
So think that the amount of servers that are going to be sold is going to be going up even more, because I think that these projections are pretty tame compared to what I expect that people are going to be needing. because of the artificial intelligence. And I also see that there is going to be a completely new cloud service available to people, and this is going to be machine learning in the cloud.
To that point, actually, before we start wrapping the episode up, I have a question for you. You know that recently I've been playing around with the Turing Pi clusters,
Yes.
which is basically like a small cluster of 4 small nodes of ARM-based CPUs in a motherboard that's mini ITX. You can look the information up on the internet, and we're going to put the link in the description box so that you can find it for yourself as well. And I have a couple of NVIDIA Jetson modules there. Actually, I have 8 of them on two of those motherboards, because the motherboard is created so that it can house 4 of those modules. Basically, from the end user perspective, and I'm not talking about my professional use case for that, end user perspective. Both of us are tinkerers in that respect. You a little bit more than me in the past, let's say, decade or so. But do you think that these kinds of devices might gain a lot of popularity? Because if you buy that motherboard and house, for example, 2 regular Raspberry Pis and 2 Jetsons, or 1, or 3 plus 1, doesn't really matter. You can easily run, and let's say, a home-based for a participant, let's say for a family-based, some kind of an AI ML mechanism doing something. And on the other 3 or other 2, depending on your requirements, you can run other applications in containers, in virtual machines, whatever. Do you see that gaining popularity in the future, perhaps?
Popularity, maybe. But I think that this is going to be much more popular as a service somewhere outside of your local network. Because right now, there is a huge assortment of different things that you can run in your local network. Raspberry Pis can run DNSs, storages, web servers, routers, Kubernetes, whatever. So you have hundreds and hundreds of applications that you can run at your home.
Okay.
There is not a lot of people doing it. And I don't think that...
is that the scope of something that's going to change in the future?
If and only if the interface and the complexity of installing it all is going to change. Because I wouldn't buy myself a board that is machine learning dependent, not because I don't understand how to install it, but because I know that the hurdles required that I need to overcome in order to get machine learning setup running something useful are such an enormous thing that I basically don't want to do it. So even with tinkering and everything else inside, this is just going to be an edge case right now.
Do you think that, so you think that that's another, let's say, set of things that are going to happen in cloud for end users then?
Do you know that there is a, just let me quick ask you a question. Do you know that there is a stable diffusion distribution that is available for Windows? So you can actually run stable diffusion in Windows and generate images.
Okay.
Do you know about it?
No.
It's 3 clicks away from running. We just basically need to download the file, start something. It is going to get all the prerequisites from the internet. It's going to get the machine learning data sets from the internet, and this is going to be it. Nobody's using it. Only the
Again, edge use cases.
Edge cases. And I think that something like this is going to become interesting to end users as soon as somebody creates a hybrid solution. The hybrid solution is going to be something that is going to be part on your PC, part in the cloud, so that you have available a data set that is going to be smaller on your PC, and then you're going to have the cloud do the heavy lifting for you and do the longer term and the larger data sets.
So basically how we use cloud today.
Yes, but I have a suspicion that people are going to be taken aback because they are going to be needing to buy things.
That was actually my next question. Do you think that that's going to drive the sales up?
No. Because it's the same as it is with the news sources. People were used to buying newspapers every day or every other day. This would amount to I don't know, €2 per day, so €60 per month.
Months on average, okay.
If I told you that you can buy, you can pay your news sources, and that you need to pay them €60 per month. So let's say 6 different sites, €10 per month each. You're not going to do it.
Nope.
Nobody does it. So it doesn't scale. The idea doesn't scale. People are not inclined to buy into things.
But that's why people invented Twitter in accordance to you.
Yes, but but there is no Twitter for free machine learning, because machine learning costs money. So we are going to be seeing a lot of applications that are able to do the hybrid model. So you have a smaller part of it on your local PC, the larger part is in the cloud.
Client server type.
Server type, basically. But the problem is going to be who is going to pay for it. Machine learning still requires a large company to run it. Everybody's talking about local clouds or local machine learning data sets. But who is going to pay for all of this? Who is going to be the one who is going to invest money?
Okay. And the last question before we wrap this up, do you see anything making the situation in terms of the PC meets Mac meets laptop sales better in terms of how many of those are going to be sold on the market? Do you see anything?
No. The thing that I'm seeing is, and probably this is the best analogy I can see, I can use, is, do you know how many faucets or basically water pipes do you have in your home?
I do.
And which models?
No.
I think that the same is going to happen to the PC. You are going to just have a screen,
okay,
and in the next couple of years, we are going to be seeing PC sales just becoming sales of devices that you need at home. So you're going to buy yourself
in a supermarket.
Yes, you're going to buy yourself another digital assistant for the looking up recipes in the kitchen, and this is going to be by chance PC running Windows 12, not Google whatever or Echo whatever. So I see that they're going to become a commodity, and this commodity is going to be even cheaper, and then nobody's going to buy them for the PC that they are. They're not going to be a separate device. It's just going to be something that you need. You're going to get one for each of the rooms that you inhabit, and this is going to be it.
Do you think that that's going to drive the console sales more for gaming, specifically talking about that?
Yes. So specialized devices are going to be going up. Because you are going to be buying, you're not going to be buying your next PC. You're going to be buying your next console for gaming, your next recipe presentation device, your next shower presentation device that's going to be able to play podcasts. You are not going to be caring about the PC anymore. So this is going to be the long-term or the long-run idea.
Especially if ARM comes to desktop.
Yes, and this is going to be, your desktop is going to just be a presentation device for the combined cloud, the local interface, local computing. And especially when the ARM comes, because somebody is going to announce that they are going into the distributed computing platform, that they're going to be not paying you money, but providing you with a service like Gmail does already, so that it can use your ARM to do the calculation for the cloud. And
set it at home.
Yes, set it at home, but machine learning, but for the whatever.
Okay.
So this could be the answer to my question: who is going to pay for it? You are going to be paying for it first by buying a hardware and then giving your data away.
Thank you, but no thank you. Yeah.
Okay, that's just you.
Okay, well, that's a wrap of this episode of That IT Show podcast. We will see you in the next episode, but until then.
Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.